Hey everybody, welcome. We're going to have a little discussion about Playdead's Inside, about the story, different theories about it, our theories, the most popular theories, and some of the far out ones. I'm here with my good friend, Reverend Xanatos.
Hello.
And I think we're going to start out with what you thought of the game. Just generally, what were your thoughts? Did you enjoy it? What'd you think about it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone would play this game and say they didn't enjoy it. I mean, it was just a freaking blast the whole time. I mean, I basically just played it until the very end. I mean, there was just like reading a really good book. You just couldn't put it down until you finished.
It was hard, yeah. I completely agree. I don't know how well it's doing sales-wise, but I know it's been a critical darling so far. Every major gaming media outlet has just been praising it, like crazy, and everyone's been saying the same thing. This has been worked on for about 7 years, and hype for it was really big. And like I just said to you before we started this video, a lot of the critics were saying the same thing. They kept hearing from people who were getting like behind the doors access to it and saying, "Oh, this game is amazing. You're not going to fucking believe it." And they're like, I don't know. And then when everyone gets their hands on it, they're like, "Yeah, it really is that cool. It's that good."
Right.
But
You never believe the hype until you actually experience it for yourself.
I believe it. I believe it now.
Yeah, without a doubt.
All right, so let's dive right into what you think this game was about, any story or your theory about what it's about.
Okay, so yeah, I got a feeling that on my side, I felt like that the upper core of the Earth was like unsustainable for like the whole society. So basically, two groups of people got split off. You had the ones on the top of the surface, and then you had the people underground in this building. And something had happened inside this building, because obviously it's like all destroyed and whatnot, and maybe that's a clue to like the explosion or something. But anyways,
Was this the flooded building you're talking about? The flooded one?
The flooded building, yes.
Yes. Okay.
I believe that was like the other society's home, and then it got destroyed, so they had to basically move up to the upper surface because it was no longer sustainable down there either. So now they have to like basically take over the upper world, and I'm guessing that there was a clash between the two. It's like, well, we can't have both societies here. There's just too much people. But I don't know. I say that now, and then I think about it's like you don't really see that many people. You're not like pushing and shoving. But I guess maybe the resources are low. But I got a feeling that they just had to take them over for one reason or another, and why they had to like mind control them. I guess they just want the free work. That just seems doesn't really work with my theory, though, with that idea. I don't think, but that's kind of my view on it. How about yours?
Well, before we get to mine, I've got to say that this is the first one then that I've heard anyone say your particular one here. This is the first time I've heard it. I've gone to quite a few different websites, different videos, and after I beat it, I had my own theory, but I was very curious to see what other people had to say about it. And yours is unique, but there's tons. I'll tell you right now, there are tons of theories because we're given very little, honestly. And so I think most people's theories cannot just be, thrown out the window.
Right.
Some of the less popular ones that I've seen have been the whole thing is simply a metaphor or an allegory for giving birth. You, the boy, are a sperm who goes and impregnates the blob. By the way, there's going to be tons of spoilers in this video. And then, he bursts out of the building, which is bursting out of the body, and then that is the birth. There was a not so popular, but I saw it in several different places. People saying that the whole thing is a metaphor for cancer. You, the boy, are the doctor going in and removing the cancerous blob from the body. Yeah, and the people
Okay.
went into that, like the masked guards and stuff like that were white blood cells, and it's like, why are they attacking the doctor? Whatever. But tons of theories, absolutely ridiculously tons. But I'll tell
Right.
you, there's two theories that are the most popular.
Okay.
Definitively, definitely the most popular. One, that the whole game is simply a metaphor, that there's no story per se. And if you're, looking for story, then these people are saying you can't find it. It's just
Right.
metaphorical. And these people, they only go so far as to say the whole thing is a metaphor for modern society, and it's uh, authoritative control over the masses.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so the entire thing is about conformity, control, freedom, and that's basically as far as those people go. I think they could go a lot
Right.
farther if they took that metaphor and that allegory a little farther, and uh, the there's definitely a class-based system there, and the blob at
Right.
the end you can see is like an amalgam of people, and that could be considered like
Mm.
the masses, that is society, the masses, the lower class people, and you have to get together and form together to finally break out, and to break out of control. Uh,
Right.
I haven't heard anyone go that far with it, but I think if you're going to take it in that way, then you might as well continue. But there
Right.
is a
Yeah.
whole lot to support that. You see the lower class people, the blue collar workers, and they're mind controlled, and then there's the upper class white collar scientists and everything else like that. So I think there's a lot to that. And then there's
Mm-hmm.
the other more literal people who they believe the story is this: the blob creature in the end was created by the scientists. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
why exactly? Well, there's a lot of different theories on that, but it has the ability to mind control. And you actually see, when the boy finds the blob, he decouples some machines. And if you notice, those machines are the same mind control machines that you use throughout the game.
Right.
And so, obviously, this thing has mind control capabilities. And so these
Wait,
people
you're saying the
believe,
blob has the mind control?
yes, this is the most popular theory out there. The
Okay, I
blob
have to
is the
disagree with
source
that,
of
but
all
go
mind
on.
control. And
Uh-huh.
he has been mind controlling the boy from the beginning to engineer
Mm.
its own breakout.
Okay. I
Now, the
also have to
interesting
disagree with
thing,
one point, but go on.
as a lot of people have noticed, the scientists apparently knew that this was going to happen, and they prepared
Mm.
for it. As you can see, as you're the blob, there's certain points where the scientists are kind of like moving you along. Hey, all right,
Right,
go down
helping
this
you around.
way. Yeah, they're
Right.
absolutely helping you around. And they eventually trap you. And isn't it convenient that there's a place that you can rip out and you can get out of that place that they trap you in? And isn't it convenient that the wall of the facility is made of fucking plyboard and you can bust out? But the most interesting thing, and no matter what theory you're going for, I think one of the most interesting things about this game, I don't know if you noticed, uh, as you are playing as the blob creature, at one point you are busting downwards through a bunch of floors. When you finally come to
Mm-hmm.
rest, you are in uh,
A chamber of some sort,
a
or
diorama
not a chamber.
of the
Right. Yeah.
outside.
Right.
Exactly
Which
the
was.
same, with the light shining down in the same area and everything else. So a lot of people are saying the scientists knew, and they're just tricking,
Mm.
the blob creature into thinking he's escaped, and that, he's never escaped. He's still inside another part of the facility.
Mm. Hmm.
I
It's
think
an
it's interesting.
interesting
I think it's
theory.
possible. I think it's definitely possible.
Right. Well, the only thing that I find a little hard to believe with that is the fact that the kid gains the mind control ability once that other creature thing, I guess drowned him at one point. Remember when he pulls you down?
Yes.
And And it's only then after that where you actually could control the people without using the helmet anymore.
Yes.
It was like at that point.
So a lot of people, what they say is that, the blob, it's using its mass mind control, because they think that the individual mind control, like units and everything else, they're getting their power from the blob.
Mm-hmm.
And so the blob is basically the source of all of the mind control, including on all of the little zombies, the worker zombies, and including the water girl thing. And that the blob is telling the water girl to try to hook you up so that you can, make it to the next part and do that.
Right.
And then there are people that say that's obviously not true, because it looks like the water girl is trying to kill you throughout half of it.
Okay, now this is kind of an interesting idea. So we're saying that the blob thing basically only controls the abominations, or can they also control the people? And if they could control the people, why couldn't they control the scientists?
Because the scientists engineered the mind control worms.
Okay.
I forgot to mention that whole part. You noticed with the pig, you pull out the mind control worm out of the pig. Those were like the early mind control experiments, and they're still being used on the pigs, and perhaps even the people too, perhaps even the populace. There's some people who believe that those mind control worms that were on the pigs are being used also on the humans. Mm-hmm. And there's some people that believe that those aren't even humans, by the way. There's some people that believe that those are just like rubber dolls created as workers, like automatons. But the people who believe that the mind control is coming from the blob believe that yes, the blob is either sending its mind control through the worms, or the worms were simply mind control experiment number 1 in facility 1 or 2, and the blob is the latest mind control experiment. As you saw, the underwater facility was 3. You saw facility 3 in some places, and the one with the blob was facility 4. So some people just think that the scientists are progressing with the mind control technology, and the blob is the latest one.
Gotcha.
It's an interesting theory, and I think it's definitely possible. My theory, and we're probably going to have to do that in the next part of this video. Hold on, I'm going to edit these together. Hold on, let me save this one. Okay, continuing. My personal theory, I went, the more concrete route too. I mean, obviously they intended some metaphorical things, some symbolism, between the upper class, lower class control, things like that, obviously. But my brain went into a much more concrete place. I thought, why is this place, this facility 3, why is it flooded? Why does the outside air and atmosphere and everything look so screwed up? Why did these scientists have to create this mind-controlled lower class? And the only thing I could figure is, what creates flooding on massive scales? And a lot of people agree that this looks kind of like it's post-apocalyptic, or something's happened. You see lots of completely destroyed buildings. Obviously, society is fucked at this point.
Oh.
So I'm thinking
something like the global warming or something.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think global warming started, and in facility 3, or perhaps even facility 2, they were just trying to, make people into, so that they could live underwater, and they've succeeded somewhat. However, I think some of their experiments, like that underwater boy, it got kind of out of control, and the experiment got out of control, maybe failed, maybe they turned against them, and yeah, that facility. So back to my little side tangent. A lot of people believe that this is somehow related to Limbo. Some people believe that this is a prequel to Limbo because you saw also some gravity experiments and some certain water experiments in that one as well. So some people believe it's related. I don't think so. But one interesting connection is that they have a machine that uses like pressure to create rain in Limbo. So there's that whole section where they're using that huge sound wave, that can completely destroy you. Remember that section of Inside?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm thinking they're trying to use that to alter the atmosphere.
Interesting.
And so the scientists have tried several different things. They're trying atmospheric alteration. They're trying, to change genes and get people to live underwater. But in the meantime, what they're doing is they're trying to mind control people so that, people couldn't stop, the global warming by themselves. So the scientists are like, all right, we're going to do it ourselves, and
right.
That's kind of my theory. I think the boy came from some kind of rebel offshoot. I think, as you can see in the early parts of the game, they're in the forests and they're getting people to use the mind control worms on. That's what I believe. And so he is trying to go into the facility to stop the mind control.
Okay. So the boy knows about this place somehow then? I mean, that was like it felt like more like a journey than it did like him, looking for a destination, because I mean, how would he know that he had to go to an underground area and all that stuff? I don't know. I think it's just, if he's like a rebel guy or part of the rebel alliance or whatever, then did he not have like any help on the way there? I mean, it seems kind of weird that he's like the last of his kind or something. You don't see anyone else like helping him on the journey, basically.
Oh no, but who knows? I mean, we're not given any kind of background about the boy. It would just be complete speculation. Were his parents taken?
Right. Yeah. Of course.
And now he's like, "Fuck it, I want revenge," and he's just going there, and then it all kind of falls into place. He's not specifically going there, to unhook the mind control. Who knows? There's way too much that's left open. But if you want a literal explanation of the story, that's the only one that I can come up with. It's global warming. It's these scientists trying to come up with their different ways of dealing with it.
Yeah, that totally works. I mean, I think a lot of this, the theme and stuff in there. Yeah, that definitely works with that theory, I think. Although I still wonder what the hell what those pods are about, though. Was that did the boy maybe come from those damn pods? I mean, could that be something?
I have no idea what those pods could be used for.
I mean, I don't think anyone's ever talked about these things, and they're everywhere.
No.
I mean, at the beginning.
In all of the theories that I've read, that I've seen, no one has ever mentioned those. And if people don't know what we're talking about, you can see these. They almost look like an outhouse, but they've got a porthole window on them. And they've usually got a pipe that just goes up into nowhere, and you can't see where it ends. And who knows what these things are? You see them in the facilities, you see them in the forest outside. Who knows? The only theories that I've ever seen about anything like in the world is that a lot of people have theories about those orbs that you find that you disconnect. Do you know about the secret ending?
No, I don't. I didn't know there was one.
There is. If you go around and you unhook all of those orbs that you find, you've probably found some, right?
Oh, yeah. That's another thing. What the hell are those orbs about? Yeah.
Well, this is not spoiling too much if you want to go and see the ultimate ending. But a lot of people believe if you that those orbs are like nodes for the mind control. That's how they mind controlled that area. That's how they, take the mind control from the blob and, put it out in, those rural areas. Those are,
Okay.
little transceiver points for the mind control.
Right. Okay. So then, what happens if you unhook them all? Then.
The alternate ending? You want me to tell you?
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
If you unhook all of them, then when you beat the game, you have to restart it. And when you go to the farm area where you get to go through the cornfield, if you continue trying just again and again, eventually you will find a hatch. You can't see it, so you just have to keep trying and trying and trying through that cornfield until you finally find it. And you can go down, and there's a small underground bunker.
Huh.
With a door that unlocks with a musical code. So you have to put in this little musical code by doing like up, down, left, 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 right, up, out, and and open this door. And when you get in there, there's a switch, and there's like a big mind control thing hooked up to the floor. When you hit the switch, the boy suddenly, his head tilts forward like like one of the mind controlled zombies, and the game is over.
Weird.
Now, some people believe again that this is linked to the giant blob, and this shows that he was connected to the blob, and the blob was leading him the entire time. Other people just say that this is more in the theme of control and things like that. You lose control of the player, of the character.
Right.
So some people are saying, the whole thing is about control. The scientists control the lower class, the blob controls the boy, and therefore the blob is controlling you because you're controlling the boy. And then when you sever that, it's game over. It's, the end of all control.
Right. Sure.
All right, continue.
Yeah, I was going to mention the chickens that followed you around. Was that a form of control as well?
I suppose it's possible. I think they were just hungry, but you never know.
Yeah. Was I the only one that was going to be like so upset when you had to like feed it into that what I thought was a grinder at the time when they shit little chicks down? Like, oh my god.
No, everyone. I thought, oh my god, they're going to make me do this? Because, when I'd read reviews and stuff for the game, one comment that a lot of people had was, when they started out the game, they're like, this probably isn't going to be brutal like Limbo is. And then, when they saw some of the deaths, like the men, like drowning you in the water or chloroforming you or choking you and the dogs ripping you apart and shit like that, they're like, oh, holy shit. This game is brutal. And I thought, oh, this is going to be one of those brutal moments. They're going to make me kill a bunch of fucking chicks.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. This is too demented. This is too much.
Thankfully, we didn't have to.
Yeah, I just kind of shoots them out there, which is quite interesting. But yeah, I had such an issue with that. It's like, I don't know if I can do this. This is too much. I think pretty much. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think we pretty much covered everything that I was trying to, kind of wanted to go over with, except for one thing. Those little, what do you call? They're like little springs that like attach to you and then like pull you up and stuff.
Yes. What about those?
Now you first saw that once you went into the city, and you saw like all the. The people being attached to it, and at the first one, I was thinking, like, what the hell is that? It's like, why is there a bunch of springs everywhere? It's like, and it was only until like I messed up at one point, that you got to see the spring like attached to you and like pull you up to God knows where. What the hell is that all about? I mean,
well, there's two different reigning theories about the whole security thing. The security men and everything. One is that they are just trying to find, like the rebel types, the people who are not yet hooked up to, their own little fun mind control worm yet.
Little system.
Everyone gets one, but
yeah.
you haven't gotten one, so we got to capture you and put a worm up your ass.
Right. Yeah.
The other
times.
group believes that the scientists know that the blob wants to escape. And so they already assume that, they've already planned ahead, obviously. They've already built the whole diorama. They've built the whole fake outside. The scientists know what's coming somehow. And so these people believe that the scientists know the blob is going to try to escape, probably using its mind control on some outside person to try to come in and take it out. So the security is trying to find anyone who, acts suspiciously, doesn't act like a zombie, and who could be that agent of his escape. And so the security is just trying to find. Now they don't know specifically that it's this boy, but the person who's going to try to help their blob escape.
Right.
So are they just out there, to get rebels, the people who haven't been caught yet, or are they specifically trying to get the person, who's trying to help him escape?
Right. And that's another kind of point that I wanted to, touch up on. The when you actually go in the area near the blob on the outside, you see like all the scientists running in to investigate the blob. And at the time, you couldn't see in yourself, and you're trying to figure out what the hell they're looking at. So at that time, what were they looking at? Was the blob responding in a different way? Because once you go in there, it's just attached and stuff. So why were they so interested in there at that one point in time? Is what I want to know.
Oh my god, there's so many theories about this game. It reminded me of one more theory that I'd read about. Yes, the scientists suddenly went over there to run and stare at this thing. So, is it acting differently suddenly? And if it is acting differently, why? Well, some people believe it is probably acting differently because it's reacting to the boy's, proximity. There are certain people that believe that the boy was part of the blob originally. Now, the boy, some people think it's either his mind, the blob's mind. Some people believe it's just like the essence of the blob. Some people believe it's just, one part of the blob. And so that, the boy isn't like joining it. He's like coming back to it. He's rejoining it. Like the scientists got rid of its mind, its essence, to try to control it. And eventually it came back. They lost control. So that's why it's acting differently. Just the proximity to its own body part. It can feel the boy getting close to it. It's an interesting idea. I suppose it's possible. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
There's so many theories about this game that could be possible. It's I can't discount any of them, basically.
Oh yeah.
Except for the whole sperm fertilizer and
that's
thing.
A little bit too much.
I don't know about those.
Yeah, I'm gonna just disregard those. I mean, they're fun ideas, they're fun theories, but they just don't really fit with everything else. Like before that happens, basically, it's like
yeah.
Well, what about like all the other society and the big explosions? You tell me that like those have something to do with cancer or birthing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is too much.
Yeah, I mean I probably read, I don't know, I must have read 70 different theories because I was so damn curious, and I read some really off ones. I mean, a lot of people had like the same ideas. Like I already talked about the two most popular ones, but there were all kinds of small ones out there. The people were relating it to the Bible, and people relating it to.
Oh, you're always gonna have someone relating something to the Bible.
Of course.
Alex.
And I actually read that one, and I was like, I just don't see it. But anyway.
Yeah.
All kinds. And most of them, I think, are acceptable. Because they give you so
far
little to work with. And what they do give you to work with is so could be read in so many ways.
Yeah. But yeah, I totally like your theory that that's the whole global warming. I mean, that's the only thing that really seems to fit, throughout the whole, game, I think.
Yeah, I think if you're going for a literal meaning, I like mine, of course. If you're going
Right.
for a metaphorical meaning, then yeah, I think just, it's something basic about control and, uh,
Right.
the individual having less power than the masses and things like that. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
acceptable. And I
Right.
think the alternate ending, people are like trying to back up their theory with the alternate ending. I think that was just a cool little thing that they put in there, like, oh, look, the whole thing's about control and stuff like that. And look, you lost control. All right, game over. I don't think that
Right.
has any bearing on the rest of the game, really.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, it's definitely a part, but not the whole, overall picture of it.
Yeah. All right, so is there anything you want to say and wrap up here?
Uh, Only if you played this game or haven't played this game and happen to watch this video, I'm sorry for all the spoilers. But if you
Yeah,
have
sorry about
not
that.
played this game and you're still, if you haven't played this game, you're still interested in debating whether or not you should get it, you should definitely get it. I mean, I think we can all say that without a doubt.
Yes. If you haven't played it and you actually listened through all of this, I mean, just the puzzles, the atmosphere, the art direction, those things
Oh yeah.
alone are worth the price of admission, without a doubt.
Hmm. What was it, like
And
$20?
it was $20 when I got it, and
Yeah.
there's going to be sales. I mean, we both played it on PS4. There's going to be sales, and
Hmm.
even if you pay the full 20, absolutely worth it.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a short
Yeah.
game, but man, you can't go wrong with it.
Yeah. You really can't. I mean, it's basically, feels like Journey in my opinion. Just a really story driven that doesn't just shove story and plots into you, but you still
Hmm.
just get the feel of it just through visuals alone, which is I think great.
Yeah. And even if you haven't played it and you've watched this entire video, you might come up with something completely different from the theories we've discussed, from our theories that we came up with. There's so many ways to interpret this game. I'm really curious if you have something else, or if you haven't played and you do play and then you come up with something else. Come back to this video and post it in the comments. I'd love to read them.
Yeah,
I'm
I like
super
to see
curious.
that too as well.
Yeah.
Just making a little form here or something. Do it. Do it.
Well, yeah, it would be nice if this is the one-stop shop for all inside theories. I tried to make it into that, but I hope people thought it was informative and maybe interesting. If it changed your opinion on the game or changed how you look at it, then I think that's a good thing. And I
Yep.
hope you enjoyed the game. And if you haven't played it, I hope you do enjoy it. I think we're going to sign out here, though. This has covered just about everything. I've got nothing else.
Yep. I believe so. I got nothing either.
All right, then we will see you next time for the next game. Later.
Laters.